free agency is kind of weird in boxing. It's never clear. It's never clear. It's never like the NBA where it's like, hey, this is a free agency period, and you know everyone's a free agent, and you know what their deal's going to be. Or NFL similar, and baseball similar. It's never like that. It's very murky. Everyone's on different timelines, and you never know how the deal's kind of worked out. There's like he still kind of has to work with his promotion, or he doesn't. You never know when he's free or not. But there are two free agents coming out this year that make it very interesting that they're past my lead to each other. I don't think anyone's really seeing this. I don't think anyone's really even talking about this matchup. But I think Devin Haney, who appears to have one fight left with Matchroom, I think it's going to be Sandor Martin. I think it's going to be in Saudi Arabia. And then he'll be free after that deal. And he's got really no one to fight, because he's not going to fight Teofimo unless he signs a long-term top-ranked deal, and he still have to convince Teofimo beyond that point to take that fight. Now, he's not going to fight Ryan. We keep talking about it, but it's not going to happen. Ryan's not going to take that fight. Ryan now is looking to be a money man in the division. He's looking to use his A-side pool to get matchups that are more friendlier to him and make more money for him. He's not going to get Tank. Tank's not going to be moving up, and he's not going to want to sign a long-term deal with the PBC at this point. Doesn't appear so. Now, Matias isn't really a big name. It's not who's paying for that for a one-fight, one-off. I don't think it's a lot of people looking to pay that. So I believe that he's going to need to possibly move up in weight. Now, the other free agent, who appears to have one fight left with the PBC, but that's if Errol Spence takes the rematch. Then if he doesn't, what happens with Terence Crawford? Now, it appears that that's the only, what he had made it very clear is that was the only fight he had left. Now, let's say they say that fight's not going to happen. But PBC is the only one that really has fights that can offer him that make sense at this point, especially in his weight class. Now, one would be maybe Zoo if he beats Thurman. The other one would be Jermell Charlo coming back after the loss. Maybe they give him a tune-up and then push Terence Crawford towards the end of the year. The other one's Canelo, which Terence Crawford had to move up 3 weight classes to fight and would basically be a cash out. But let's say Terence Crawford takes a fight or doesn't, and he's just free agent. Now, you know Terence Crawford's history. I mean, how he took money from BLK Prime, which is an unproven thing, because they offered him a good amount of money for a fight that he felt he was getting, overpaid for a low-risk fight. And you look at Haney, whose team likes to keep him free and available for options. Now, if they're both free, and Devin Haney's going to have to move up because there's no lower weight fights that really make sense for him. And Saudi Arabia is looking at them and saying, these are 2 legit guys, right? 2 pound-for-pound guys. Maybe the pound-for-pound number 1, but the top 3 or 5 pound-for-pound guy in Devin Haney. They're in the same weight class. I don't think Terence Crawford needs to move up. But the only reason they're talking about moving up is because Spence wanted to move up. Maybe he possibly move up for that. Or because just the lack of opponents with the weight division he was in. But I don't think he needs to move up for 147. Well, Saudi Arabia throws a bag at both of them and say, why don't you guys meet over here at 147 pounds? Now, I think Devin Haney looks at that, who was a guy that I've not seen run from anyone, not seen blink at any matching up with anyone. I think he would see that and say, this is our chance to not only catapult our name, but also put me in the talks as the best fighter in boxing today. And I'm not even close to my 30s yet. And I think Terence Crawford would look at that, saying, this is a guy that's moving up in weight, doesn't have great power. Is he really going to be able to keep me off from catching him the whole night? Which I think I'm more skilled than anyone. And if this guy can match his skill for skill, he still can't. The power's not going to play a big effect on it, and he's moving up. And they're going to pay me a bag to do it, and I'll still have my availability after that. I'll still be free after that. I can do any deal I want. I think this is a matchup that no one's really talking about and no one's really considering. But I think that it's lining up nicely. That would make a lot of sense, and these guys could do some business together. I think Devin Haney versus Terence Crawford, these matchups come out of nowhere, and sometimes they come out quicker than you think, and then suddenly they get you to start thinking, well, who would really win that fight? I think Devin Haney is one of the best fighters in the world. I think that he's quickly outgrowing all these weight classes and moving up. And I think Terence Crawford is still possibly the best fighter in the world. But he is getting older. He is going to look for paydays and big names. And I think a matchup with those two guys with that skill level will build a lot and create a lot in the imagination for fans on how that fight will look. And it'll lead to a lot of debate. And I think it's just a very interesting matchup at this point of their careers.